Hopefully, you're going to look back in years to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country.
He might not be wrong, at least not about being historic. What he calls Liberation Day could mark the moment the US fully turns its back on the global trade order. No surprise, US stock markets nosedive, and the announcement sent shockwaves across the world. So now the question is this a zero-sum game, or does everyone lose? China wasted no time, calling the move a textbook case of unilateral bullying, and fired back with a barrage of countermeasures, including 34% tariffs on all US origin goods, filing a WTO lawsuit, blacklisting 16 US entities and 11 American firms, export controls on critical minerals, investigations into US CT medical tube imports, suspension of grain and poultry imports from selected US suppliers. And it's not just China. Experts and world leaders say the US move undermines the rules-based global trade system built on decades of negotiations and balance. So what are these so-called reciprocal tariffs, or more precisely, discounted reciprocal tariffs? According to the US Trade Representative's Office, reciprocal tariffs are calculated as the tariff rate necessary to balance bilateral trade deficits between the US and each of its trading partners. Sounds simple until you dig into the math. The calculation is based purely on the size of the US trade deficit with each country. The bigger the deficit, the bigger the tariff. But this ignores reality. Trade deficits are shaped by market forces, industrial competitiveness, economic structure, supply chains, trade policy, and the US dollar's global dominance. Here's why the logic doesn't hold. It violates comparative advantage, the principle that trade benefits all when countries do what they're best at. It breaks WTO rules, especially the most favored nation clause, which prohibits discriminatory tariffs. It ignores global development gaps, hitting emerging economies the hardest and making it harder for them to grow. This obsession with perfect equality in trade is not just flawed, it's dangerous. Do these tariffs achieve what they promise? Well, in 2024, the US trade deficit hit $1.21 trillion, up 50% from 2017. That's before the last round of tariff wars began. If history is any guide, the answer is clear. And yet, here we go again. This is self-inflicted pain. It takes direct aim at globalization, the very engine of growth that's defined the modern world. No one knows how this will end, but the world will certainly remember the days before April 2nd, 2025, and the ones after.